G'day guys, I'm Wazzalang and welcome to my Ultimate Trees installation guide for 2019. So quite a bit has changed since my last guide back in 2017. For example, we now have SKSE 64 and obviously that does change things quite a bit. So there are a few different steps now in order to get DynDOLOD 3D Ultra Trees running for your Skyrim SE. And this guide's going to go through it all step by step so you can get the same sort of results that you see in my videos. So let's get straight into it. So the first utility we need to download and install is SKSE 64 if you don't already have it. I'm assuming a lot of you guys already will. Alright, so you'll find it at skse.silverlock.org, and I'll just mention now that I will leave a link in the description below for all the mods and utilities that you do need to follow this guide. Okay, so we want the second one down, which is actually Skyrim Special Edition, so it says current SE build, let's highlight that, 2.0.12. Alright, it's just a simple 7-zip archive, so click on that one to download it, and that will get you this folder here, SKC64 2-00-12. So we can open that one up and just leave that there for a sec. Now you have to install this one manually, so you need to know where your Skyrim SE game is actually installed. I'm also assuming most of you guys are going to know that. In my case, it's in the S drive under Steam, Steam Apps, Common, and Skyrim Special Edition. Okay, so you'll know you're in the right place if you see Skyrim SE.exe. That is the executable for running the game, and you'll also see the SE launcher there as well. If you see those, you know you're in the right place. So this is quite simple. All we need to do is highlight the data folder and also the two .dll files, which is those two there, and also the .exe file. And the other ones are just text files, and we don't actually need the src folder. That's more for if you're actually making your own mods. Alright, so we just simply need to drag them across or copy and paste straight into where our Skyrim SE is loaded, and you'll see I've already got those in there, so I'm just going to skip those files. Okay, and that is SKSE 64 installed and ready to go. Now I'm just going to leave this one open for now because we are going to put some more stuff in there. So the next one is the Papyrus utility, which you will find on the Nexus, and just make sure it is for SE Special Edition. Now these files are very specific depending on the current version of the game that you have running. So if you have the latest Skyrim SE, then it's quite easy, just always grab the latest files and you shouldn't have any trouble. Otherwise you're going to have to do a little bit of research and just make sure you download and install the right version of the files for your particular game. But I like to keep my Skyrim SE updated, so it makes it quite easy. Just download the latest files each and every time. So you can do a mod manager download or a manual download. I usually do my downloads manually now. It's just the way I do it. So yeah, whichever way you want to go, I'll show you how to actually install it manually. So download that one, and that is what you'll get. So a scripts folder, SKSE folder, a source folder, and also a readme. So back to where our Skyrim SE is installed. Now this time you don't want to install directly into here where we were last time. Actually open up your data folder, and you want to put these three folders, the scripts, SKSE and source, into here. So just either copy and paste or drag them across, and there they are. And that is done. Papyrus utility is now installed. Pretty easy, huh? And the third utility we need, which is actually a mod and a very popular one, is SkyUI. Now you can just download and install this one as per normal, as you would any other mod. There's nothing special at all about this one, and I wouldn't actually suggest trying to install it manually. So yeah, the latest version is SkyUI 5-2 SE. So download and install that one as per normal. And basically that will give you the option to change a couple of things around with DynDOLOD actually in-game, which is really handy. So you can actually turn it off in-game. We're going to go through that later on in the guide. But yeah, it's very helpful. So that's why that one's included in this guide. Okay, so that is all we need to get things started. In the next section, we're going to be downloading some fun stuff like all the tree mods, and a few of those are going to be optional. They're not all required, so it'll be up to you guys as to which ones you want to use and which ones you don't want to use, but we'll go through all that. So step 2 is the tree mods. So we're getting into the fun stuff now. And as you can see, I use a mod organizer currently on version 2.1.2. So this guide is based around using a mod organizer. So I apologize to anybody that's not using it, but you will find answers online for any other organizers that you use. Okay, so the first 3 mods I have here are Alpine Forest of Whiterun Valley, Trees in Cities Special Edition, and also the Autumn of Whiterun. Are all completely optional. They're not required to have DynDOLOD's 3D Ultra Trees running. All these 3 mods do is add more trees into your game. They don't change the model of the trees at all. And like I say, certainly not required, but I think they add a lot. And if you want a similar look to what you see in my videos, then I'll definitely recommend grabbing these. So, Alpine Forest of Whiterun Valley, let's have a look at that one first. Okay, so here it is here. It adds a huge forest, basically right through the valley. It's not too crazy though, there are still quite a lot of bare patches, which as you can see right there. And yeah, a mod really worth having as far as I'm concerned. And there is only one file, so you can just download and install that one like any other mod. And the next one was Trees in Cities for Special Edition, obviously. And we'll have a look at that one also on the Nexus. And as I said, it's not actually replacing the tree models as such. All it's doing is adding more trees into the cities, which include Whiterun, Windhelm, Riften, Markarth, and also Solitude. And again, I think adds quite a lot to the game. Alright, so there's 2 files here. The first one is actually compatible with Open Cities. So if you have the Open Cities mod installed, then you definitely want to grab that file. But if not, then grab the second one here, which is just Special Edition. So no Open Cities compatibility for that one. And that's actually the one I use because I don't have Open Cities installed. So download and install that as per normal. And the last one here was the Autumn of Whiterun. I just love this mod. It just changes up the game so much for me. I love the change. So it's going to look different too, depending on everybody's tree setup. So as you'll see in these pictures, it's got the original looking aspens, because that's basically what this mod does. It adds a lot of aspens right through Whiterun and also in the outskirts of Whiterun as well. But depending on what tree model or tree mod you have running, which determines what your aspen's going to look like. That will determine what this mod looks like. And as you probably know from my videos, all my aspens are pretty much green, which I really like. I hope you guys do too, because I'll be showing you how to do that a little bit later on. Okay, so we've got a couple of files here. We've got the main mod, Autumn of Whiterun version 1.3.1. And we've also got the Autumn of Whiterun 131 No Lanterns, and that's actually the file I used, because obviously lanterns are going to throw light, and just for compatibility reasons I chose that, so I didn't have any flickering lights or anything crazy going on with my lighting setup. But it's up to you guys which one of those you want to use. And this mod's also quite compatible with JK's Whiterun Outskirts. So if you've got JK's Skyrim mod running, or just JK's Whiterun mod running, this is quite compatible with it as well, which is always a bonus. Okay, so just download and install that as per normal with your mod manager. Okay, so that was it for the optional tree mods. So the next step will be getting into the required tree mods in order to get that DynDOLOD 3D Ultra Tree setup running nicely. So the next few tree mods I'm going to mention are required in order to have DynDOLOD's 3D Ultra Trees running nicely and correctly. So the first one is a Reach Tree Replacer SSE, and you can see there's actually 3 files there I have installed, so we'll just go and have a look at that now. Okay, Reach Tree Replacer SSE, so here it is. And let's just quickly read the description. This mod replaces the existing bare reach trees with leafy reach trees. This means that the twiggy bare branch trees in the reach and around Markarth are now in leaf and look much better. And also around Morthal Swamp as well. And I can definitely confirm that's what it does, and it does look a lot better. Now you'll notice there are still a few of the dead reach trees as well. They're not all gone, so they're still there. And they have been retextured as well, but there's just not as many of them. A lot more of them actually have the green leaves, and it just really adds to the game as far as I'm concerned. And more importantly, it also has support for DynDOLOD's 3D Ultra Trees. So you'll see there's 3 separate files here. We need each one, so you can just download and install them as per any other mod in the order that they're listed, and that will have you set up perfect. So you want the Reach Tree Replacer SSE, that's the main file. And then in optional files you also want Reach Tree Replacer SSE billboards. That's obviously for DynDOLOD. And then you also want Reach Tree Replacer SSE DynDOLOD Ultra Tree LOD. You need that in conjunction with the billboards. So you need all 3 of these files for Ultra Trees. And just download them and install them in that order, and you can't go wrong. The next tree mod we need is absolutely crucial, and that is enhanced vanilla trees. So this is basically the heart and soul of this entire guide, and running 3D Ultra Trees. So we actually need to get the version for Skyrim, for original Skyrim, not the SSE version, because unfortunately when we're running 3D Ultra Trees, the SSE version is a little bit broken and doesn't quite work, so we need to get the old RIM version. So that's why we're now under just Skyrim here. Alright, so let's have a look at the files. So you'll see the first file is the billboards generator for enhanced vanilla trees. We are going to need that definitely, but we actually need the main file, which is the second one down here, enhanced vanilla trees. So you can do a mod manager install on this one, and we're just going to go through that process actually, because there's quite a lot of options to choose, and I'll just show you guys which ones I've actually chosen. So as you can see, I've already got it installed, enhanced vanilla trees, so we're just going to right click and reinstall the mod. That way we can go through the options. Okay, so first up we get to choose whether we're running an EMB or not. I'm going to assume most of you guys are, including myself, so you could tick EMB. But if you're not, maybe for performance reasons or whatever, click on the vanilla option. So we'll leave it on EMB. Alright, so you've got basic trees, lush trees small, lush trees large, custom trees small, custom trees large. Now I always go custom trees. I have actually chosen the small option before, but I do love my trees large, so the option I nearly always take is custom trees large. And the custom mainly refers to the tree barks. There's quite a bit of variety with this type of tree, so they don't all look exactly the same, which I think is quite important, so I always go custom trees. And we're going to go large. And then there's the option here for enhanced tree clutter. It says recommended, and for good reason. I always choose that as well. And click on next. Alright, we don't have parallax in Skyrim SE, so there's no need to tick the parallax for custom trees option. Leave that one blank. Now, realistic aspen tree support. Realistic aspen tree support light version. We definitely want to choose realistic aspen trees. You don't need that mod in itself. It's actually included in this mod. But if you don't tick it here, you won't have the realistic aspen trees, and we definitely want those. So I always go the full version. So the first one there, realistic aspen tree support. So tick on that one, and then next. Alright, these options are mainly to do with the foliage on the pine trees. And they're taken from Vurt's Skyrim Floral Overhaul mod. As you can see, they're in 4K. I usually just stick to the enhanced vanilla trees foliage, so I leave it at none. And in the optional files here, Vurt's custom lush snow trees. You definitely want to tick that one, because that's probably some of the best snow trees you're going to ever see in Skyrim. Thank you, Vurt, for those. So you definitely want to tick that one. The second one here is the same option again with parallax, and as I said, we don't have that for Skyrim SE, so there's no point ticking that one. So just choose the Vurt's custom lush snow trees. And next. If you want greener pines and clutter, you can choose that. I've tried it out before. It's just a little bit too green for me, so I don't choose it. And then you can choose the greener pines on the individual pines as well, if you wish. So they're not all green. But I usually leave all of that blank and move on. Okay, options, install my LODs. Yep. And just click install. And we'll just cancel that because I already have it installed. Okay, the next one is the billboards generator. So we'll just go back to here. So that was actually the first file there, billboards generator for enhanced vanilla trees. So you can download and install that as per any other mod. And we'll go through that one as well. So you really do need to have remembered your options in the last step in order to choose the correct options this time around. So we'll just right click and reinstall mod. Okay, so custom trees, we definitely chose that in the first option. And also realistic aspen trees, we chose that as an option as well, so you tick both those. Alright, we didn't choose any of the Vurt's foliage, so you can just leave this at none. But we definitely did choose Lush Vurt's snow trees, so we tick that one. Next. And this was for the greener pines. We didn't choose any of those options at all, so just continue on next. And we did choose the larger trees in that first option when we installed enhanced vanilla trees. We did go the large option, so you want to go large tree billboards, so tick that one. Obviously, if you didn't choose the large trees, then don't tick this one. Auto installation for required files, yep, so that's where you'd normally click install. I'm just going to cancel because I've already done it. And there we go, so that is enhanced vanilla trees installed. Now, because we used the Oldrim version of that mod, there is an ESP with it, and obviously that's not going to be saved correctly for Skyrim SE. So what I've done here, you just right click on say enhanced vanilla trees, and you can actually open the mod in Explorer, and you can see here srg enhanced trees activator.esp. So as it stands at the moment, because that was for Oldrim, that's not going to be that compatible with Skyrim SE, and it may cause us some problems down the track. So I'm just going to show you where you can actually fix that up really quickly and easily. So we go to Enhanced Landscapes, and we're back on Skyrim Special Edition. And thank you to ACEQ. He's actually converted that ESP for us. So we just need to go to Enhanced Landscapes, cycle down the page a little bit. And by the way, we are going to use this mod. We're just not ready for it just yet. Okay, so we go to tutorials here, how to generate 3D tree LODs for enhanced landscapes and enhanced vanilla trees. So just click on that link. And we come to this tutorial, enhanced landscapes and enhanced vanilla trees LOD generation. Alright, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, the fifth line down. Download ported ESP file for enhanced vanilla trees. Okay, so this guy's actually already ported the ESP for us, which I must say was very nice of him, for lazy people like me. Okay, so just click on download. It's a really small file, so it doesn't take long at all. There it is right there. I do believe I've already got it here somewhere. Let's have a look. There it is right there, so it'll be a zip file. Just open that one up. Okay, there it is there, srg enhanced trees activator.esp. So that one has been converted, saved and converted for Skyrim SE. So all you need to do, as long as you've left this other window open, is just drag it across and replace the file. Bang, done. And that saves having to do it ourselves, which is really handy. Alright, so that now makes enhanced vanilla trees fully compatible with Skyrim SE and ready to go. Okay, so in the next step, it's completely optional. We're going to be playing around with Vurt's Skyrim Floral Overhaul, the trees only version, and we're going to be picking and choosing some of my favourite trees out of that mod to include in this guide. But if you guys don't want that in your game, then you can skip the next step completely. Okay, so the next mod we're actually going to create ourselves, and we're going to use Vurt's Skyrim Flora Overhaul, trees only version, and we're going to borrow 3 of his tree models, and 2 of them are actually there right now. It's the conifer looking pine tree, And as you can see, there's a few more on that side as well. I just find that they break up the monotony of the normal pines and these snow pines, and give it quite a bit of variety. I think they're really important actually, and I love the trees as well. I love the models. They're some of my favourite trees right there. And as you can see, I don't actually have 3D Ultra trees running at the moment. We don't even have DynDOLOD installed, so that's why the DynDOLOD and trees look a little bit vanilla-ish at the moment, but that will all change very soon. So yeah, two of the models are basically those conifer trees, and then there's one other dead tree model which we're going to borrow from Vurt's mod as well. And this is Vurt's dead tree model, which we're going to also use. As you can see, pretty high res and looks really nice. And I also find that breaks up the environment quite a bit, breaks up the trees, just adds something a little bit different. And we're grabbing the other one, so it's easy enough to grab that one as well and slot that into our hybrid mod. So in order to create this Vurt's hybrid mod, we need to jump back onto the Nexus and download Skyrim Flora Overhaul SE, but we do need to grab the trees only version, which you'll see is the third file down, trees only version 2.72a. So just manually download this one. You only really want to get it onto your desktop. You certainly don't want to install it, otherwise it's going to replace and override all the work we've done so far, basically, which we don't want because there's no 3D tree support for this one, unfortunately. Okay, so once you've downloaded it, it'll just be a zip file like this one, SFO trees only version. So you can just open that up, and straight away it goes to a data folder, and then inside that we have a meshes and textures folder. So what you need to do is create an empty folder, new folder, and just name it something like SFO or Vurt, whatever you like really, and then just drag these two folders inside of it. I've already done that. I've called it SFO, so let's just get rid of that zip file. Okay, so SFO, so this is Vurt's trees only mod. Okay, so we only want 3 trees out of this mod, so what we need to do is create a new folder and call it something like Vurt's hybrid, whatever you like really. The name doesn't matter too much. Okay, so we open up that empty folder. I'm just going to drag that to the right. Actually, let's just make these a little bit bigger so you guys can see. Okay, this is about a 5 to 10 minute process. It gets a little bit monotonous, but I do believe it is worth it. It's only 5 to 10 minutes and you get these 3 amazing tree models in game. So yeah, I would really advise that you go ahead with it. Okay, so inside this empty folder we want to create a new folder, and we're going to call it textures with a capital T, and then we're going to create another new folder called meshes, capital M. Okay, so now it matches Vurt's over here. And we'll go the meshes folder first, so open that one up, and as we know there's nothing in there, so create a new folder called landscape, capital L. And I'm sorry if you can hear my keyboard, guys, I'm not really set up for this. And then inside the landscape folder, create another new folder called trees. You guessed it, capital T. Alright, and you can open that one up, and obviously it's empty at the moment. Now we go over here to Vurt's actual mod, go through meshes. You can just follow along up the top here. So we've got meshes, landscape, trees, meshes, landscape, trees. And here is where we pick our three NIF files. So the first one was tree pine forest dead 03. So look for that one. Here it is there, tree pine forest dead 03.nif. So you can just highlight that. And then we've got the two snow trees as well, which are called the tree pine forest snow L. Don't forget the L03.nif and the tree pine forest snow L04.nif. And that's the three models we want, and that is it. So right click, copy, paste, there they are. Okay, that was the meshes done, easy. So let's just go back to our textures folders. Okay, this one's slightly more complicated, but no, not really any harder, it just takes a little bit longer. Okay, so open up textures. Obviously it's empty. We want a new folder called landscape. And this is just oh, whoops, what did I just do? Let's try that again. New folder, lowercase, landscape. And inside that, a new folder, trees. These are all lowercase, and we can open that one up and just leave that there. So again, we've got textures, landscape, trees. So open up textures, landscape, trees, and this is where we choose the textures that we need for those three models, and they are the Vurt conifer bark, which is this one right here. I should say Vurt dash conifer bark, and it's a DDS file. And we also want the one next to it, the Vurt conifer bark -n DDS file. And the next one is the Vurt conifer snowy, which is, might take me a little while to find this. Okay, here we are down here. So we've got the Vurt conifer dead. That was actually, that was the next slot of files. That's ridiculous. Okay, they're all together. So we've got the Vurt conifer bark -n, the Vurt conifer snowy, Vurt conifer snowy -n, and this is the other one we need, the Vurt dry bark 01, and Vurt dry bark 01-n. And I accidentally double clicked that. I think I'm now actually trying to open it up. So let's just close down GIMP. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 files there. Oh god, that's opened up a million times. Okay, so you can right click all those, copy. Okay, so now we go back to where we had our landscape folder just there, which is 2 clicks back, 1, 2. And the next folder we need to create is the terrain folder down here. So right click over this side, new folder, terrain with a lowercase. And then we can open both those up. And the next one we need is the LOD gen. So right click, new folder, LOD G, all uppercase, EN, lowercase. And then we can open that one up. And lo and behold, we have another folder, so create that one as well, called Skyrim.esm. And that's a capital S for Skyrim as well. And we can go and open both these up now. Okay, so we just need 6 files out of here, and as you guessed it, it's the 3 tree models we're using, which is the tree, pine, forest, dead, 03. So we've got to find that. Tree, pine, forest. There it is right there. Tree, pine, forest. Oh, 2, that one. Tree, pine, forest, dead, 03. Now there's a .dds file and also a .text file, and we need them both. So we can highlight both those. And then the next tree was the tree, pine, forest, snow, L03. There's lots of tree, pine, forest files here, so just make sure you grab the right one. So we want the tree, pine, forest, snow, L, which is down here, 03, and also 04, which is obviously right under it. So highlight those 4. So I just got the 6 files there. Right click, copy, paste. Okay, so we've got a DDS file and a text file for each of the 3 tree models that we've chosen. And that is it. Okay, so that is our Vurt's hybrid mod, and it's set up correctly for Skyrim to just plug it straight in, basically. Now the only thing with this hybrid mod we've created is that there is no 3D tree support for it. So depending on the settings that we actually plug into DynDOLOD, those tree models in the distance are only going to be normal, standard 2D billboards, and they actually don't look too bad. There is a setting we can change in DynDOLOD to actually make them 3D. So I'm going to talk about that when we get to it, but you do have the option to make those tree lods look a little bit better if you're not happy with the 2D tree lods. But there's a picture of the tree that we've just plugged in right there. Okay, so actually that's not quite it. So you've got your new mod here. So all you need to do now is just right click it, 7-zip or whatever program you use, add to archive, and just make sure that you store it. You don't actually compress it because you will lose quality, so just make sure you've got store set, and we'll call it Vurt's hybrid. Click OK. And wow, that was really quick. There it was up in the top left corner. Okay, so Vurt's hybrid. So then all you have to do is simply install that as you would any other mod with Mod Organizer. And I already have it done, so there's Vurt hybrid right there. And we just have one more mod to go before we install and run DynDOLOD. As you can see, it's enhanced landscapes. So here it is here on the Nexus. Now when you install this, it does have quite a lot of options with it, so we'll just quickly go through those. You can have a complete grass overhaul, which I actually use. Yeah, it's quite amazing. Comes with a bit of a performance hit. It's not really performance friendly, especially if you have a lot of other big mods running as well. But if you've got the system for it, then yeah, you'll be amazed. It's quite beautiful. You can also have green fields. That's mainly right through the Whiterun Valley area. Green grass, and also it changes the green textures on the ground as well. And then of course we have the green aspen trees option, which obviously I choose. I love the aspens looking green. Yeah, I'm absolutely hooked on that, so as you know, I choose that one. And then we've got the enhanced ash trees with 3D tree lod for Solstheim. Barren Marsh, a small optional file that removes almost all pine and reach trees from the marsh region, making it look more desolate. So there's a good picture of it there. Okay, so there's only one file to download here, so it's nice and simple. And you can just install it as per normal with your mod manager. So we're just going to go through the options again. I'll show you what I choose. So we'll just reinstall that mod. Okay, so optional files. As you can see, there's a lot of them. Pretty sure I always go with better plant textures. It takes a lot of the textures from SFO, which then uses obviously in combination with enhanced vanilla trees. So that's obviously really handy. The grass overhaul, as I mentioned, turns all the grass through the White Run Valley green. I have tried that in the past, but I just got a little bit sick of it after a while, so I don't use that one anymore. Enhanced Solstheim ash trees 4K with 3D LODs. I've always chosen that one as well, so we'll just tick these actually. That one. Now, the green aspen trees for enhanced vanilla trees. Definitely choose that one if you want your aspens green. Otherwise, they're going to be the normal realistic aspen trees colour, which is the orange and red and yellows. So yeah, tick that one for the green aspens. Then you've got the barren marsh. Up to you. I personally don't choose that. And you've got dead marsh. I personally don't choose that either. Green fields if you want the green fields. And LOD noise texture. You can choose that if you wish. I don't. And we've got a patch here in case you're running immersive citizens. So if you are, choose that patch. And then just simply click install. I've already done it, so I won't do it again. And it's that easy. Just a quick note though, if you do go with the green aspen trees, as I have, then you're going to want to grab this mod up here, Riften HD Green Aspen Leaves Ground Cover. So let's have a quick look at that one on the Nexus. Now that's a file which, an optional file which comes with the Riften HD by Luxor 8071. I actually use Riften HD. I love the textures. I think it really gives Riften a lift, a well-needed lift. And we're in the files here. So there's the main part of the mod, Riften HD. And then this is the one you want if you're going to run green aspens. It changes all the leaf textures around Riften in particular to green. So it just matches your trees a little bit better. And you can just download and install that as per any other mod. And pretty much stick that anywhere in your load order. Okay, so that's it for all the tree mods. So next we're going to download and install a DynDOLOD and get it set up ready to run 3D Ultra Trees. So at this stage you can actually jump into game and check out your trees. You've got everything there to have pretty good looking trees other than their LODs, so they're going to still look a little bit ordinary off in the distance, but as I mentioned, the next step is to download and install a DynDOLOD and also set it up ready for 3D Ultra Trees. So this is the page you're going to want to get to. The link will be in the description below. So at the moment it's DynDOLOD standalone 2.57 beta, and the resources is 2.55 beta. So when you do download the standalone, which is the actual program itself, and the resources, you've got to make sure that the resources file number isn't higher than the standalone number, always make sure it's either the same or less. Otherwise, the resources won't be that compatible with the standalone version of a DynDOLOD. Hope that made sense. So the last version I had was actually 2.56, so this has actually just recently been updated. So I'm just going to grab the latest version now. And it's only 25 megabytes, so it won't take too long. Okay, done. So I'm just going to drag that straight to the desktop. And there is my resources, which I've already downloaded. Okay, so the DynDOLOD resources are quite easy. Just install them like you would any other mod. So they are up here. Open. And you have just a couple of options here as well. So obviously the core files have to be installed. And then you've got the visual options, Whiterun exterior. I usually select that. Also the Solitude exterior, we'll take that as well. High Hrothgar window glow, why the hell not? And DLC to Vardenfell 3D plume. Yep, why not? Okay, there's a performance option. So yeah, if your computer's not quite up to it, then you can always try out the low-res LOD textures to get a little bit of performance back. And then miscellaneous options, desync birds of prey, definitely select that. That just means when there's a bunch of birds in the sky at the same time, they're not all flapping in sync. It'll mix them up a little bit and make it look a little bit more natural. Excuse me. And holy cow, yeah, that will actually install a really big cow into one of the valleys of near Whiterun. And basically the idea of that is if you're way off in the distance, you'll be able to still see it. If you were just using normal vanilla LODs and you had the cow installed, yeah, it wouldn't be showing up. So it actually gives you an indication that your install and DynDOLOD is working properly and showing what it should be showing. So if you want to select that, you can. You'll just have to either click on it to delete it later or rerun DynDOLOD completely and deselect it. I've done it before, so I'm going to leave that one unchecked and just hit install. And there it is at the bottom. Okay, so you see that's overriding quite a few textures and other mods just at the moment, like my Real Snow HD 2K, Enhanced Landscapes, Billboard Generator, and we don't want it to do that, so what we're going to do is drag it up. It's even overriding actually Enhanced Lights and FX, that's fine. I'm going to set it just before my HD LOD textures because I don't really want those overwritten by anything. So just make sure, yeah, they're well above all your tree mods that we've just installed earlier, and also anything else that you think is probably going to be better quality than the resources supplied with DynDOLOD, such as like HD LOD textures, for example. Okay, so we've got that sitting at 221. Alright, next step is to install a DynDOLOD itself. Okay, so this is the one up here, DynDOLOD standalone 2.57. So the idea is to not put it in, say, a C drive with all the other operating systems. Keep it away from there. Keep it away from your Skyrim SC installation, which is obviously in my S drive. So I actually do put it in my D drive. As long as it's not in the same sort of folders. It can be on the same drives, but just not, you know, inside of the Skyrim SE installation, for example, or inside of program files on your C drive. Just keep it away from those sorts of things. Okay, so as you can see, I've already got a folder here, and that's actually got everything in it. So what I'm going to do is completely delete that. Alright. And it comes in its own DynDOLOD folder, which is perfect. Just going to drag it straight into our D drive. And there it is, right down the bottom. Okay, so we can open that one up. So we've got a docs folder. You open that up, and then you've got all these links to websites online which tell you all about DynDOLOD, and I'd suggest you actually read through all of those to better educate yourself on how it works and how it runs. And you'll see there's a trees.ultra folder. Obviously that's what this tutorial is all about, so I definitely suggest you read that as well. Open up this one. I learnt a lot looking through there, so I'd suggest you do the same. Okay, so what we need to do first is set up our mod organizer so we can actually run DynDOLOD from inside of mod organizer. Now, people using a Nexus mod manager, I don't think you can actually do this step, and all you need to do is save a shortcut onto your desktop of the exe file for DynDOLOD. I'll just show you which one that is. Where are we? So you've either got DynDOLOD.exe or DynDOLOD64.exe, depending on the system that you're running. So for me it's the 64. See, TextGen, we've got TextGen.exe and TextGenX64.exe, so I run the 64s. So all you need to do is, if you run with Nexus Mod Manager, is right click on it and send to desktop, create a shortcut, and then every time you run DynDOLOD, just run it from that shortcut on your desktop. And I do believe that works, but I don't use Nexus Mod Manager, so I've never actually tried it myself. So that's basically as far as I'm going to comment. So back to Mod Manager. Okay, so we want to click on Edit because we want to add some new shortcuts here. And we'll do the TextGen first. So the title we'll call TextGen. Binary, that's how it finds it. And look at that, it's come straight up. It's my D drive, the DynDOLOD folder, and it's the 64, so it's TextGenX64.exe. Click on that, open, and start in. I always pick the DynDOLOD folder. Select folder. Arguments. Okay. In order for DynDOLOD and TextGen to run in special edition mode, you need to type this into arguments, which is the line SSE or lowercase, so no space. Use icon, add, and close. And there it is down there, TextGen. Okay, that worked. So we want to do the same thing again for DynDOLOD. So we'll call it DynDOLOD binary. So DynDOLOD x64.exe. Open. Start in the DynDOLOD folder. Select folder. And arguments. No space. Line SSE. And use icon, add, and there it is down the bottom. Close. Let's make sure it's both there, TextGen and DynDOLOD. So that's actually got mod organizer set up ready to run TextGen and DynDOLOD. So what we're going to do now is actually set up DynDOLOD to run 3D Ultra Trees. So we need to go back into our DynDOLOD folder, and we want to have a look at Edit Scripts, DynDOLOD, and firstly we'll just check the cache. Okay, so we want to delete anything that we find in the cache before we run DynDOLOD. So each and every time you want to go into Edit Scripts, DynDOLOD, Cache, and delete any scripts or any files that are in there. And you see Sheeson's actually put in a text file here because of reasons, so let's delete it. Okay, gone. So yeah, always make sure your cache is clear of anything before you run a DynDOLOD each and every time. And now we need to go into the DynDOLOD ssc.ini. Whoa, what's that doing way over there? 1, 2, 3, fourth one down. TreeLOD equals 1. So set to 0 to replace TreeLOD with static object LOD, and it sets the flag trees equals 1 automatically and disables the wizard automatically. And it says here see DynDOLOD documents trees.ultra. We already saw that folder, DynDOLOD trees.html, and that will tell you all about Ultra Trees, how to set it up, how to run it, troubleshooting, etc, etc. So TreeLOD equals 1. We want to change this to 0. So that basically means now that we have the 3D Ultra Trees set up to run when we first run DynDOLOD. And there's only one more thing I need to talk about here, and that is the tree full fallback. So set to 0 to use tree full model for static object LOD instead of billboards if a tree 3D LOD model is not found. Okay, I've run this setup plenty of times now, and it does find the 3D LOD billboards required to do the 3D Ultra Trees, unlike last time where I was using the newer version of Enhanced Vanilla Trees for SE. I didn't realize at the time that it wasn't really compatible and wasn't properly set up to run with Skyrim 3D Ultra Trees. But now we've gone back to the original Skyrim Enhanced Vanilla Trees. There excuse me, are no issues. So you do have the option to set this to 0. So if it can't find any required billboards to generate the 3D LODs, then it will actually just use the full model tree right out into the distance as far as it needs to, which is pretty much just as far as the game goes. So yeah, it can create huge static object LOD files, but that's only if most of your trees don't have proper 3D billboards, and this setup does. So basically what this will do is the 3 trees that we chose out of Vurt's trees only mod, they're only going to be 2D billboards at this stage, but if we actually set tree full fallback to 0, that will make them 3D models, so they will look perfect from any distance basically. And pretty much all of the other trees are just going to be running 3D Ultra LODs, which is what we want anyway. So I'm going to leave that one up to you guys, whether you want to actually leave it at 1 and put up with the 2D billboards, or set it to 0 and go full models on those 3 trees from Vurt. So the choice is yours. There's really not much performance hit whatsoever because we're only talking about 3 trees. But still, I'm going to leave it up to you guys. And for the sake of this, we'll set it to 0. So when it can't find proper 3D billboards, which it won't be able to for Vurt, it will use the full model for those trees. I hope that all made sense. And that's all we need to fix or change in the INI here. So make sure you save it. before you close it. And that is it. So believe it or not, Mod Organizer is ready to run DynDOLOD, and DynDOLOD is ready and set up to run 3D Ultra Trees. So it's really not that hard. Alright, so first of all what we need to do is run TextGen before we do DynDOLOD. So get that one up and click on Run. Okay, so the output path, it's my D drive, the DynDOLOD folder, and it will actually create this TextGen output folder. You probably don't remember seeing that one before when we were in there because it wasn't there, but it will create it. And that's where we'll find the output from TextGen. Select LOD texture size. I always max this out, but depending on your system, you may want to go 512 or even 256. It may give you a bit more performance, I'm not sure. I've always gone 1024. And pretty much leave everything else as it is. You can read the manuals down here regarding TextGen. I'd suggest you actually do that just to learn more about it, and then click Start. So this usually doesn't take too long, maybe around 5 to 10 minutes, so I'll probably speed this bit up for you guys. Okay, so when TextGen is finished running, you'll get this little message box here, and you'll also get, hopefully, completed successfully little message down the bottom there as well. So you can just click Exit. And now what we need to do is zip up what we've just created. So go back into your DynDOLOD install, and you'll see now we have a folder, TextGen output. Open that one, and this is what was just created, a textures folder. So right click on that, and we need to zip it up. So add to archive, and we'll actually rename this to TextGen output, and make sure compression is just at store only, no compression, and click OK. And there it is, 300 meg. Alright, so just install that as you would any other mod. So back to our D drive, DynDOLOD, TextGen output, and there's our zip file right there. Okay, tick the box, and that is installed. So this is the beauty of Mod Organizer. When you do click on a mod, it will show you immediately what it's overriding. So you can see it's overriding Real Snow HD 2K plus excuse me, some files in DynDOLOD textures, and also DynDOLOD resources, which is perfectly fine. But what I'll do, I'm actually going to put it just after DynDOLOD resources. Okay. The next step is to run a DynDOLOD. Okay, read the effing manual. So here are all the shortcuts to all the different manuals, plus the step project forum. You'll find a lot of answers there as well. If you're having any sorts of problems or issues whatsoever, there's a good chance somebody else has already had them, and it'll be in the forum and there'll be answers there, so read through it. Okay, we don't want to see that page again. Click OK. Okay, this is the page we want. So, what you can do here, right click, select all, or select none. This is the worlds. We're just going to click on Tamriel for this tutorial, and we're also going to go with a setting of high. Depending on your system, you may want to try medium. I would suggest go high initially though, and if your performance is being hampered too much, then you can always rerun DynDOLOD and try, say, a medium setting. So we're going to go high for this tutorial. And if you scroll right down the bottom in this window here and look under trees, you'll see it has static LOD 4. So that's the first indication that the 3D Ultra Trees is working. The static LOD 4 actually means you're going to have hybrid tree LODs at LOD 4, which is the closest LOD. So what that means is, as long as the 3D billboards that you're using are correct, then the hybrid tree will be, say, a 2D trunk, but it will have 3D branches and leaves. And then, as you can see, the next LOD level out, LOD 8, becomes billboard, and LOD 16 billboard. And you'll be surprised just how far out LOD 4 goes. There's only a few places on the entire map where you can actually see out as far as LOD 8 and actually make out billboards in the distance. But it's so far away, you honestly couldn't tell if it was a billboard or a 3D tree. And the other giveaway that your 3D trees is ready to go, this generate tree LOD box will be grayed out. You won't be able to select it because we've turned that off back in the INI settings that we made. So we're going, what are we doing? Max tile size. I always go straight to 2048. Again, depending on your computer, you may want to start at 1024 or maybe even 512. You just have to play around with that depending on the performance that you're getting. LOD brightness. Now that refers to the tree billboards. So these ones out at LOD 8 and LOD 16, which, trust me, are a long way away. I've found with my particular setup, my lighting setup and my EMB setup, about -3 seems to be about right for me. Again, bit of a trial and error. When you go in game, you can probably start with 0. Go in game, have a look at your really far out distant trees, and if they seem a bit light or a bit dark, just darken them, which is going into the negative numbers, or brighten them down here into the positive numbers until you come up with something that you like. Alright, generate DynDOLOD. You want to tick that box because that will generate LOD for all your other objects and things in game, which it also now includes dynamic LOD. I click Windows, and we'll pretty much leave everything else alone. Again, read the effing manual down here. Yeah, if you're not sure about stuff, you want answers, click that, read the manuals, read the documents, and you'll probably find your answer there. But once we've done all this, just click on OK, and DynDOLOD will do its thing. Now, depending on your settings, this can take anywhere from, say, about 15 minutes up to maybe 25, maybe even half an hour, depending on your system. So, yeah, you just have to be a little bit patient. So I'll get back to you guys shortly. Okay, so once DynDOLOD has finished running, you'll get this little message box here, and you'll also get a nice little message saying DynDOLOD worlds completed successfully. That's if everything ran smoothly. Now you'll see here there's all these messages saying waiting for LODGen X64 to finish running. So what you need to do is just quickly drop down to your taskbar and make sure that this LOD Gen X64 isn't still actually running, because if it is, you need to not click anything, just wait. Wait until it's actually finished and closed down here. And once that's happened, you can click save and exit. And you'll be good to go. Okay, so we'll just go and zip up the folders we just created. So back into our DynDOLOD install, and you'll see now we have a DynDOLOD output folder. That's where all the good stuff just got put. So you'll have a meshes folder, SKC folder, textures folder, plus a DynDOLOD.esm and a DynDOLOD.esp. So we need to select all of those and zip them up. Add to archive. DynDOLOD output. That's a pretty good name for it. Make sure it's store only. Don't compress it. Okay. So you see it's going to be just under 3 gig, 2.8. So obviously if we selected all worlds and reran DynDOLOD, it would be quite a bit bigger. You're probably looking at around 6, sometimes 7 gigabytes, which is not unusual. But that shouldn't give you any trouble even at that size. I've had that running and installed on my Skyrim SE before, and no issues. Okay, so there's that. So we just need to install it like any other mod now. So that's where it was last time, back at TextGen, so we just need to go up a bit. There's our DynDOLOD output. Open that. There's the zip file we just created. And yep, we'll call it DynDOLOD output. Okay, once you click on this one, you'll see over in the right hand side here, we've got the DynDOLOD ESM and the DynDOLOD ESP. Just a few things to mention. First of all, the actual mod itself, the DynDOLOD output mod we just installed, always have that at the bottom of your mod list, right at the bottom, always. With regards to the DynDOLOD ESM, we need to drag that up to the other ESM files. And there's a few ESPs in there, so we'll just put it at the bottom of those. And nope, that didn't work. There we go. So put that at the bottom of all the ESM files at the top here. And leave the DynDOLOD ESP at the bottom, the absolute bottom, and always. And that's one thing I forgot to mention too. If you have a bashed patch or a merged patch, make sure you've uninstalled them before you actually run DynDOLOD, and then you can always rerun them afterwards. But don't have them installed while you're running DynDOLOD, because it can create problems. So you've been warned, and that's why you don't see any bash patch or merged patch in my list at the moment, but I normally do have it there. So yeah, sorry I forgot to mention that one. Okay, that is it. That is DynDOLOD 3D Ultra Trees installed. So all you've got to do now is run the game and check out your new awesome trees. Okay, so we've just jumped back in game to check out our new trees. So you can see we're just outside of Riften here. Okay, so there's some trees. There are actually a couple of Vurt trees off in the distance there. They're looking really good. So they are full models. Our mountains are looking mighty fine. Loving the green aspens, and as we can see off in the distance there, the tree loads are looking quite exceptional. So we can just check that DynDOLOD is actually installed and working properly. So we just need to go into the menu system and go down to mod configuration. And we need to cycle down to DynDOLOD, click on main, and you'll see the first line there, DynDOLOD is active, with a tick in the box. So that means it's installed and working correctly. And you will actually get a little message up in the top left corner as well, saying DynDOLOD initialized successfully, I think it says. But yeah, I've already had that message come up, I missed it. So I'm just going to quickly show you guys what to do if you ever want to, say, uninstall DynDOLOD or just rerun it. Maybe you change your tree mods around, or you just have a lot of other mods which change the environment in some way and you want to rerun DynDOLOD. Then this is the process you have to go through. We need to be going into an interior space. So what we're going to do is just pop into Riften quickly.
Best defense is a good defense.
And you can see the green aspen leaf textures on the ground there. Thanks to the Riften HD mod. Okay, so before we go inside, what we need to do is deactivate DynDOLOD. So we go back into the MCM menu, mod configuration, DynDOLOD, click on main, and just bring up that first line where it says DynDOLOD is active. Just click on that and that will uncheck the box. And then we can exit out. And you need to see that message there, DynDOLOD deactivated. So you can OK that. Once you've seen that message, you just need to go to an interior space. So we'll just pop into the B and bar.
If you've got the coin, you've come to the right place. Pull up a seat.
Welcome to the Bee and Barb, milady. If I can interest you in one of our special drinks, you let me know.
Maybe later. Alright, so back inside. All we need to do now is make a save. And once that's done, we can just exit out of the game. So once you're back out of game, all you need to do is you can either deselect DynDOLOD output or just right click and remove mod. If you want to completely uninstall all of DynDOLOD, you can also do the same with the TextGen output, so you can remove that one, and also the DynDOLOD resources SE, you can remove that one, and then DynDOLOD will be completely gone. But if you're just rerunning DynDOLOD, which is probably the most popular thing, all you need to do is uninstall the DynDOLOD output and then run the game again, and it will come up with a message before the game loads up that this save relies on DynDOLOD ESP and DynDOLOD ESM. Just OK that. As soon as you get back in game, make one more save, and that save is then DynDOLOD free and ready to go again. And also, don't forget, if you are rerunning DynDOLOD, to make sure you clear the cache, because you'll see it's now got all these files in it. So each and every time you rerun DynDOLOD, delete the cache from edit scripts, DynDOLOD cache, and then you're ready to go. You're ready to rerun DynDOLOD again. Okay guys, so that is the end of the Ultimate Trees installation guide. I hope it helped you out in some way. If it did, please consider subscribing. I'll be putting out a lot more content like this. Please like the video if it helped you out. Give it a dislike if you didn't like it. And we'll catch you guys in the next one. Cheers.